It was one of those deals where, if you're intellectually honest with yourself, you declare to no one in particular. You could just be by yourself and declare to no one, I'm going to go to bed tonight. Going to go to bed now. That don't mean you're going to go fall asleep. And you damn well know you're going to putz around on your phone and do some other jackassery, anything but going. It's going to be, and it's sometimes it'll be like a good 45 minutes. Some of you weirdos, I just go right to sleep. I'm not that type. It's like landing a big plane. It's got a nice gradual. It's not like a helicopter. There's helicopter people that wake up and then go to sleep. Like you assholes. I just big old 747 fully loaded. Need a long runway, lots of coffee. I need an equally long runway to land. I said, there's a lot of originals I got to do. I took the 2 weeks off and I came up with ideas. I better get through those. Because if I do it now, and I'm just going to be staying up on my phone doing the swipey swipe, might as well save myself 30 minutes tomorrow, get some production done. And then tomorrow I could go for a hike. Oh, I ate like a pig today. Don't worry. We'll get to the topic of conversation later. So I gotta go to the gym and I gotta hike tomorrow. So this was out of this driving across the country, was it? One of the two cross country trips. This thought came to me. So there is a shortage of quality men in America. I know we kind of focus on the women on this channel, constructively so and rightfully so, but the men aren't all that much better. A lot of it is not necessarily their fault, just not necessarily women's fault. But at the end of the day, the quality of men and women for each other is kind of piss poor. It's very low. So both men and women, I think, do have a right to complain about that. And of the many things that women are complaining about with men is that there are not enough accomplished men, or they say economically viable men or economically available men or whatever else like that. But I started getting around to think, okay, well, how would you define that? And there's other ways, income per capita, what your salary is and all that. Ideally, women would like men not to live at home, although that's rapidly becoming this is not 1993, it's 2024. And it dawned on me, wow, wait a second. Inflation is real. I know you girls are bored with economics. Oh, that's economic. Oh my God. You see what? Flavor Flav, that's too old for this generation. Oh my God, did Lizzo say Tay-Tay? All this shit about Tay-Tay. You don't know how inflation works, despite having at least 3 economics classes between high school and college. But now, and it does, especially financial people are now acutely aware of inflation. Oh, now you're aware. Have we studied what causes inflation? Don't worry, we'll get to it later. But after I thought about it, I'm like, wait, this is really keeping quality men off the market. That's not so much that inflation is keeping quality men off the market. It is, in order to become a quality man, you need to make a certain amount of money. You need to be able to support yourself. You need to in other words, support a family, which is a standard traditional measure that we could continue to use. But inflation makes that harder. So you could have, in other words, let's say this was 30 years ago. How many millions of more, quote, quality men, good men would be on the market because they're not having to work so much to pay for rent? And they could save up money for a down payment on a house, which would be probably the most direct. Who could afford reliable cars? Who could afford to take girls out for a date, right? And inflation eats away at this. And what I what I want to point out is the, it's logical, but there's something much more important happening behind the scenes that before you girls see a guy on the dating market or men that enter the dating market, there's one thing men have to take care of first before they can start pursuing women, and that is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I mentioned this before. It's a convenient pyramid of priorities in life that'll help you understand human behavior. But the short version is that there are these different levels of needs. Harry Maslow, whoever the guy was, some scientist guy in the past, long dead. And he was saying you can't be pursuing loftier goals in life if you don't have the basics covered. So, for example, I think the first need is safety. It ain't even food, it's safety. Like, we're not in a war torn zone. There aren't saber toothed tigers coming to get us, there aren't bears in the woods. You're safer that way, though. Anyway, so you need to be safe. Then I think there was food, and then I think there was, food, clothing, shelter, and there was a third one or biological needs, something like that. But the first 3 needs, you're not doing anything else in life if you're in those lower 3 levels of needs. Like, your life is at threat or your life is not guaranteed even medium or short term. You got some serious, you gotta find food, clothing, and shelter and stay away from some saber-toothed tigers is what your primary priorities are at that time. And things were fine. Oh, where thing just don't think about money or inflation right now. Think about at what age you would have your food, clothing, and shelter taken care of from today to 60 years ago, right? Your food, clothing, if you look at the boomers in the 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, well, more like 50s, 60s, 70s, because there was World War II going on. You had kind of food, clothing, and shelter taken care of by 18. You graduate from high school, go work at the factory. Now, maybe we didn't have quite the technology or the commensurate standards of living that come with it. But in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you guys all complain about the boomers and they bought a house on the with the money on their paper roof for $25,000 and everything was uphill. Uh that guys got their food, clothing, and shelter. They took care of Maslow's hierarchy of needs very early in life so that they could then be a good man, a quality man. I'm not talking about the raw material that these men could be, is that the environment allowed it, that we could at 18, 19, or late age 20, you could go off and work and maybe even start thinking about getting married and forming a family. Now, what is it, about 30? Right, I'm not kidding. It's about 30, isn't it? For a guy kind of gets stable enough. That's a decade and change. And for you younger gals that might be interested in getting married and having kids, uh yeah, inflation is a huge part of that. If you look and your main expenses have just gone up drastically since say 1964, is 60 years ago. Your housing, food, go to food, clothing, shelter, right? Food gone up, clothing, well, maybe not so much. That's actually come down. Shelter, lodging has definitely gone up. Transportation, that's gone up, right? You girls ain't going to date a guy without a car. Education, back in the day, we gave you enough of an education that by the time you're a senior in high school, employers would accept you and maybe pay I would say a living wage at that moment in time, but better probably adjusted for inflation now. We'll talk about education later. Healthcare costs were cheaper back then, although that affected older people, not so much young people like it would today. But men have to do a lot more work. And if we were to use average marrying age rates, the inflation is delaying the uh, creation of good men by about a decade. By about a decade. The other thing I will add to this, even though it's not part of the title, that is also delaying men, so it's not solely inflation, this is a huge thing, is ridiculous education standards in order to work at an employer. ladies, this may not be you young ladies' fault, but it is a fault of disproportionately, some men are in this field, but it's disproportionately a women's responsibility. It's disproportionately women's fault with this old, pissed off, spinster, angry, useless, worthless group of women, and some men, I might add, called human resources, who say bachelor's required, master's preferred. And then you're all wondering, I can't find a guy that's got a job. He's going to school for an extra 6 years to maybe make $60,000 a year. In the boomer days, in the youngin' well, the boomer and older, I mean, silent generation, World War II, whatever. You graduated. Most people probably didn't graduate from high school. You go back far enough, you go work. You'd have a job. Oh no, 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 no. Bachelor's required, master's preferred. And then you all wonder where the good men are. Well, the good men now got to go get 4 to 6 years at what price? Oh, the inflated price. There's now the inflation comes back in where you gotta pay more in tuition. And so now you go into student loan debt. See, if you could pay cash like you did in the '60s for college degrees, you just pay cash. You wouldn't have student loan debt. So now, because yeah, what percentage of people graduate without debt, right? So, and you can argue about the causes of this, but I'm just pointing out why it's even further delayed. So now you have ridiculous education standards before you're even allowing both men and women to work. And then on top of it, you have the student loan debt that comes with it, which is caused by inflation. And now they're saddled for they got to pay that out. Yeah. The You have just made it down. Say, I didn't make it. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna get to why you did make it. We're gonna get to why I'll throw in the community as well, but I'm gonna explain why disproportionately women you voted in this kind of uh you have made it an extra 10 years it's going to take the average guy and the average girl, mind you, by the way, to square away the food, clothing, shelter required 3 levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I think some women would agree with this also. You're probably not in a condition to start a family, get married, find a man to by, 24. You too are in that. You too also have this ridiculous degree that is you need it to work this job, but you really don't because you could have done it with the 8th grade education you have because it's just some ridiculous HR harpy requiring you have this. Right? That right there, we don't even have to talk economics or inflation. The ridiculous education standards corporations require that you have. If you ladies could talk to your HR elder sisters and mothers, tell them to shut the fuck up and knock it off with these idiotic education requirements that has made now 2 generations of kids, young adults poor. That'd be very helpful. That go a long way. They go a long way in helping men become quality good men. But if we go back to inflation, well, what causes inflation? 2 things can cause inflation. Well, they both there's 2 variables. How much stuff you produce and how much money did you print off? That's it. It only takes one or the other, but we have both happening at the same time right now. We are printing off more money, reasons we might get into later, and we are producing less stuff. And when you print off more money, cause free Democrat shit. Yay, it's free. What do you mean my rent went up 40%? We'll find out there's no such thing as free. It's just you just kick it down the road. You pay more in inflation. That's it. That's all it is. There's nothing free. It felt really good that first year you got it. You print off money, okay? And or you produce less shit. So let's say you kept the money supply the same because you decided not to vote in free shit. You just kept it the same. But people produce less. Like, oh, I don't know. There's less carpenters, less plumbers, less electricians because, ew, gross. Tradesmen, ew, Trisha, I don't want to date them. That's like all Mike Rowe and he's dirty. Ooh, I want my MBA boyfriend who doesn't produce jack fuck all shit. Like things like housing or cars. So you've printed off, so you don't even have to have more money to cause inflation. You just need less housing, which is exactly what we got in the country right now. If you look at housing starts, because we have too many college educated idiots and not enough tradesmen. Why are cars so expensive? Well, educate or environmental requirement, less auto production. I'm not sure about that, but I know there's a lot less car mechanics to keep the cars on the road. Ooh, he smells like oil. Gross. He's not a pretty shiny pony investment banker boy. Investment bankers also don't produce shit. They finance shit. I'll grant they do play a role that's somewhat required if they're not like totally misallocating $1 trillion in the housing market. It's so pretty. But I want to, how's your behaviors and actions, particularly voting and dating, handling it? Are you girls dating tradesmen? Are you encouraging men who can build things and fix cars? Are we as a society encouraging both men and women to go into and producing the things that we need? Are we doing the same whole follow your heart, money will follow bullshit that seems to have bankrupted 2 generations of young people so far? And then when it comes to voting, and I'm sorry, I don't really want to bring politics into this, but you almost have to. And this is somewhat apolitical, and many of you who've listened before know where I'm going with this. Y'all can't be voting for free shit all the time, printing off money to pay for it, and then thinking that somehow inflation is not going to come in and enslave the rest of you for the rest of your life. That's great. You got stimmy checks under Trump, Republican, by the way, but you permanently increase prices forever. And if you want to look at the money supply, I recommend starting at the second term of George Bush Jr. and then look at Obama, who 3.8 times, almost quadrupled it. Trump tripled it on top of that. And I don't know what Biden, I think he's done more. I'd have to take a look at the data and get. But y'all keep asking for free shit, which is the Democrats' domain. We'll give you free shit. It's free. Yeah. Here, see, it's a check. And they're like, yeah, okay. They just cut you a check for free for a housing voucher. They didn't build no more housing. So you're long term, okay, you find you got a voucher, but it's only going to get a fraction of the square footage of rent you used to because the stock of housing didn't go up and we got more people. And I know this is I know it's so important to so many people but my entire value system is about free shit because I want to feel good about myself and have other people with their money pay for the things for the other people so I feel good about myself, but not my own money. Don't there dare be inflation. You can't vote for free shit and then complain about inflation. It's they're the same thing. And I don't know what this is there's no right or wrong. What's more important to you? Politics on free shit or getting free shit or just voting for free shit or a world with quote free shit or men that are good men, marriageable men, quality men who aren't stuck another 10 years having to work away just to afford inflated prices. I've said it before and I'll say it again because it's the only way we're getting out of this. Why is my hair like that? What the hell? It's the wrong way. Come on. The camera is off. There we go. The only way out of this problem is to pull a good old post-war Japanese miracle. The Japanese miracle after where they became the second largest economy in the world after literally being nuked in about 30 years. 45, 85. Yeah. No, 75. 35 years. 35, 37 years or so. Right? It's don't overthink this economic stuff. Okay. You want cheaper housing? Build more housing. Instead of working 40 hours a week, work it. We want more stuff. We want prices to go down. Well, double your workload, which I understand at current wages, but like I said, kind of ignore the economic, just simply, oh gosh, there isn't enough housing. Well, how about instead of 1 billion college graduates every year, we only have, I don't know, 500,000, and the rest of people go into trades or truck driving or things that actually help produce real goods and services. If you double the amount of goods and services in an economy and you keep the money supply the same, prices would go technically, they go down by half. A very simple math. There'd be velocity and elasticity. I don't want to go into that. But I mean, quite literally, if you were to if everyone just worked twice the amount, producing twice the amount of shit, but we kept the money supply the same, on average, ceteris paribus, you'd have price decreases by 50%. You would have deflation. But if you print off 10% more money, you look at Trump, it's just like 100% a year. Price. And we did have inflation. Oh my God, the money supply went up 4 times. Housing prices go up 4 times. Oh my God, you all got stimmy checks. Then you bitch about the cost of housing. I told you before, there's no free thing. Fine, you got your stimmy checks. Now you're just paying more rent. It's going to go back to the people that got the rent or build cars or insurance or food or whatever, all the stuff that you buy. It's going to go back to those people because they're producing the only thing of value. And so I would like to, I'm not saying you gotta, not definitely not saying you have to vote Republican, but you're gonna have to vote for politicians or start talking to your politicians to knock it off with deficit spending. You got to stop printing off money. And if you really wanted to help on the supply side where we produce more stuff, you should start thinking about policies that incentivize people to produce more stuff, particularly housing, because that's the biggest expense we all face, except for some people's education. Sometimes they piss away a tremendous amount of money on worthless educations. But how is it ever food, clothing, shelter? What policies, what politicians are you voting for? And this is more local than it would be national, by the way, so that there could be more housing. Are you encouraging men to go into the trades? Are you making fun of men because they're electricians or plumbers? That's my favorite. You girls won't even date a plumber when, like, that's one of the best guys you could date. I don't want to date an electrician. What? You don't want to date the guy that bills out at 150 chimney sweepers, $120 an hour. Now, that's what the company billed out at. But how hard is it for you to teach yourself how to clean a chimney? Truck drivers, our good buddy Alex Patino, truck driver, Latino agent in the field, especially if you're hazmat, making 6 figures. Ew, truck driver. You're not gonna go on a date with a truck driver? I guess you're not. The irony is you got a good man right there, but he's a truck driver. Oh, what will the girls at your sorority think? I don't know. If the smart ones think, well, he's got a job and he's not up on embezzlement charges because he's a Wharton graduate with his MBA. I'm not saying that this is squarely in the hands of women to turn the country around, although obviously half of it is. But if you wanted one, if you kept your if you stop going after the guys who fake having money and went after the guys that actually had money, like tradesmen, that'd be the first thing you could do to today start finding good men. Right? Understanding your definition of good men isn't good. It's wrong. You wouldn't know if a good man was standing right in front of you, and usually it's the guy fixing your car. Ew, but he comes back and he's got like sawdust. Okay, yeah, well, that guy has a job, probably has a house, maybe smells like Pennzoil, but that's better than, getting busted on fraud charges at a banking scheme. Probably a bit more moral too. So that's something you could do immediately. But long term, what are you doing to make it easier for men to become high quality men? I'll point this out again. I know it feels good. I know this is the most popular thing to do, but to vote to take other people's money away so that they can raise rando kids that aren't theirs, you're basically paying for a third of Americans right now. You're paying kids and retired people. But basically, you pay taxes, including the people you vote for to pay taxes, to raise 1 in every 3 children off the government dole, or at least subsidized by, usually wholly, but also subsidized. Well, what if men didn't have to pay those taxes? Then maybe he could afford to take you out for dinner. And go look at your tax rates. I'm not making it up. The average person pays about 38% of the money in taxes. State, sales, property, all that other stuff. The more money you make, there are consequences to your love life and your marriage life for voting the way you do, both in terms of inflation, taxation, which all invariably delays men from becoming the good quality men you'd like to be, which they have to be. I understand you don't want to date some slouch that doesn't have money, can't support you. I know, and not all of them are going to be billionaires, but you could have a lot more guys out there if we weren't having a third of our income being sent out to other people who aren't responsible enough to raise their own family. There'll be a lot more men if you didn't all require college degrees in HR departments. Be a lot more qualified working men if they weren't trying to pay off their whatever political science degree and instead went to trade school and could not only frame but plumb their own house and get you a house on the cheap, a good quality house on because he has buddies he can barter with. Oh, he doesn't have a college degree. Ew. Yeah, he doesn't have student loan debt either. He's got a positive net worth. There's a whole course I could do. I wonder if you girls would listen to it though. Where it's like, what the fuck is the point of a college degree? What are you looking for in terms of a quality? Why are you what is a quality man in your mind by you? And why is it those traits make a man quality? And if you thought it through, like, oh wait, that doesn't lead anywhere. Like, so what? The guy's got a master's degree. He ain't doing anything with it. Or maybe he teaches part time for $18 an hour for whatever jerk off studies degree he's got. But here's a guy that could actually fix your car, not probably also handy with the house. Wouldn't that be imminently more practical and a higher quality guy? Here's a guy who saves his money, buys a sensible used truck, and actually has a 401k retirement and low debt. Oh no, I need the fanciest, most leveraged McMansion in the McSuburbs with a McRange Rover, and we need a third mortgage so we can go and fly to Europe with our like snot-nosed children. But that's good, huh? That's good. Good living paycheck to paycheck is good. Meanwhile, the nerd driving a Toyota Corolla. Oh, that guy. Oh yeah. Yeah, he got a Toyota. Ew. It's got a scratch. Yeah, it ain't got no car payment either. But there you go. You are voting for inflation, just so you know. You are making it harder through government policies and voting. And I don't know where the cultural or HI, this is not young women's fault. This is old women's fault. Women in HR, I don't know where they got that hard on for a master's degree. And hopefully that's going away. But yeah, you're making men spend. You're making it harder and harder to get out of those lower levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, not just but for men, but for you too. And wouldn't it just be easier if you knocked that off for everyone? Oh, but we got to vote to take our own money away from ourselves and give it to a bunch of irresponsible assholes who just can't keep their legs shut or use a condom. Heaven forbid. All right. Hey, speaking of, Alex Patino, attractional Latino agent in the field, $5. I like this late night intro. Sounds like an offbeat of 70s prom music. Not that I know anything about that. You're not that old. No, Shark Toys. Everyone go subscribe to Shark Toys. He kindly put together some music for some of my intros, and he found the AI redhead gal, so he sent that along. Wow, I got to use that. You got to use that for the cover. My truth, the king. Late night power walking HR is gonna ruin my morning. HR. Oh God. God, man, if I was president and king, I'd be like, you got an HR, you can have a legal department, you can have benefits and compensation. If you have an HR department, your taxes are going up to 85%. And I would have a commission. I'm like, we're gonna find if I find out any of you have bloviated educational requirements for your job positions, your tax rate goes up to 85%. You will make I have like this right to work where you will not make it an unnecessary educational or training burden on young people to get entry level positions. And you would, oh, by God, by golly, here comes well endowed Molly. You will have training programs. And if you unnecessarily require men and women to have college degrees, you will reimburse them for with an 85% tax. And then all of a sudden, things start again a little bit more productively under Captain Cappy. Why is inflation so low? Why is there so much housing coming on the market? Why is housing affordable once again? My truth, the king, $2. This navel gazing ain't gonna admire itself, Cappy. Reen Schwartzer, $5. Used to have bedtime stories. Now we get Gen X Cappy bedtime stories. Used to save 800 a month. It's 300. No new expenses, just rent and groceries. Used to save 800 a month. 800 a month on what? Rent? Um, Now what's 300 now? Like your entertainment budget? Hey, it's Herschel. His name isn't Herschel, but I see the Hebrew thing and they've got 6 shekels, no free lunch, want things, work for them. Yeah. Well, see that there is no free, even the people who get whatever, Section 8 housing, their food costs go up. It will be recaptured by the different productive aspects of the economy. You could put off all the money in the world. I've said it before. The day is coming. You're going to get a $10,000 whatever welfare check or social security check. The question is, what is it going to buy? And ask the Venezuelans about it. Ask the Zimbabweans about it. I wonder if Israel ever had an inflationary time um, in its history. I don't know much about Israeli historical economics. Reen for $5. Cappy, there's a singles event for people in New York, literally called Rescue Me. Got a buddy that went to it. All blue collar guys. Look it up. Oh, is it like a firefighter thing, or is it a bunch of girls who can't fix their own? Hang on, let's look it up. Is it what I'm predicting that a bunch of girls need men like blue collar guys to come in and fix their shit, which is an income transfer? That is slavery. I'm not even joking to be funny. That's a tax. Why would you give free labor away? All right, Rescue Me, New York single event. Rescue Me singles party. Bravest firefighters. Singles event, not vent. Mix and mingle. Snag your hero. Tickets. You got to pay for this? Mix and mingle with New York City's. Oh, it's just a bunch of shirtless firefighters. Yeah, I see why they're raising money for the fire department. Snag your very own hero in this soiree, which gathers together the area's hottest first responders, cops, and military. But I thought ACAB, right? New York, right? Wait. I'm confused. Women of New York City vote Democrat, right? I thought all cops were bastards. In the military, you can't have the military in there. Heroes of mix and mingles before you arrive. Open to men who are first responders with legitimate agency ID. Open to women of all professions. All right, so you got to be a firefighter, or military and all that. Not bad. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. That wouldn't be I thought it was going to be more like, oh, that's maybe an idea. Hey, you need, because girls would be motivated by the free labor. Men would be motivated by what they're always motivated by, uh, love, love. So maybe I should run with that. Ladies, do you need something fixed? Well, come to our singles event and find yourself a plumber or an electrician. It'd just be highway rob. I know when, and then, hey, but you got to take them out to dinner. You got to make them food or something like that. There might be a way to do it appropriately. There might be a way to pull that off. So the guy gets like essentially a date and a home cooked meal. And then the girls get whatever, their electrical panel settled or car gets fixed or something like that. That might be an idea. Someone, not me, run with that idea. I'm not going to do it. Nonstop trade $2, but Cappy, women got T-ration government welfare. I get yes, they have welfare. You guys have welfare. You got your EBT cards. The question is, how many chicken tendies is that EBT card going to buy? You're going to start finding out it ain't the money. It's the production. It's very boring. It's called supply side economics. Democrats said it isn't a thing. Well, that production aspect of the economy, that doesn't matter. Multiplier effect. Dre, $2. Cappy is a 4'9" power walking life coach male. I just feel to say a Bronx, $2. Even owning my house, I had to cut back. Even owning my house, you had to cut back on what? With inflation. Oh, okay. I see what you guys are saying. Okay. Alex Patino, $5. Mexico has done it. They elected a female president of Jewish descent who represents Mexico's left-wing party, Morena. Imagine that. Well, what was wasn't they elected a rank socialist before? What the hell was the guy before her? Mexico ex-president. What the hell is his name? Not Vicente Fox. Oh, this is going way back. I got it. Obrador. Yeah, wasn't he a socialist? I thought he was a. So what? Now they just have a female socialist. Oh well. Don't worry, they're going to be fine. They're going to more free shit. The solution to everything is free shit. Matter of fact, it's surprised we did. Why didn't we just think of that before? Well, free shit, make everything free. Why didn't we think of that before? Okay. Potato sauce, 10 Australian. Australia is still 90,000 short on trades, despite tradies get the ladies. Yeah, see, your women know the tradies are sought after, tradesmen are sought after down there. Women know the tradesmen make money and they're stable. So there's a different cultural shift here. Here, I don't know. You girls love the biggest pussies ever, like finance guys. And I was one at a time. But you just like the prettiest, like they smell nice and everything. You don't like real men. Uh, a lot of young men and women don't realize voting for free stuff and mass immigration from a diversity increases housing rank. Well, yeah, that's another thing. If you increase the number of people in the I was gonna say property, but I guess the country property in the area, yeah, there's more demand for the same amount of stuff that was produced. I don't care. Y'all keep doing what you want. I don't have expensive tastes. I'm a minimalist. I can play this game longer to some gal over in New York City who needs her Louis Vuitton bag. Ken Rose, $2. Hello, Ken. Brian Robeson, I think this is a new guy, $10. 30-year-old millennial grew up poor, fell for the college meme, now lost job. White collar IT work is super gay with all the soy boys and HR Stacy's applying to the trades union this week. Thanksgiving. Now, here's what I want to point out with Brian. I'm not picking on you, by the way, Brian. I'm just you. What if we just sent you to the trade starting at 16? Like instead of all this college and high school bullshit, nope, we're getting you in the trades. So by the time you were 18, you could go out and make roughly 45 on the low end, maybe possibly 60 on the high end. It's totally possible. Oh no, got to go to college and heart money, follow college experience, the best days of your life. No, if you're a fucking moron, hear me. You are a fucking moron. You are a loser if college was the best days of your life. Because it means that was it. It was just childhood. There was nothing about your adult life that you worked towards or accomplished or achieved. And look at that. So we could have saved, yeah, easily 10 years, 15 years even on you there. Oh, no, no. Let's just keep pushing everyone into college. College, 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 college. Hey, and for all you corporations, work-life balance, the environment, keep requiring master's degrees. It's going to really help out those young kids. Mike Definder, 5 Australian. Good day, Cap. You love your work. I know this is a bit off topic. Do you think we will see a failure of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency in my lifetime? Oh, good question. One would argue we already have because it's lost what 97% of its purchasing power, depending on how far back you want to go. That's all. I can't predict. To be short answer, I don't know. Speculating answer, I don't think so because it's the dynamics of the world reserve currency. The US fundamentals are horrible. The dollar should fail. Except the rest of any other competitor currency out there is in even worse shape than the US dollar. So because again, we're the thinnest fat chick at a party of fat chicks. We're the last horse in the glue factory. We're the smartest kid on the short bus. So if the BRICS nations were to get their act together, get rid of corruption or cut back on it, and get a legit serious approach at an alternative world reserve currency would happen, I don't think you're going to see the failure of the US dollar in my day. Wouldn't surprise me if we did. And as I pointed out, technically we already have. I don't know what you would call losing 97% of your purchasing power. But like an actual collapse where there's hyperinflation in the US, I don't think so. I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't care. I'm a minimalist and I've invested in a bunch of inflation hedging investments. You don't need a lot. I'm not like sitting on millions of dollars worth of silver either. I'm just in enough. Dre, $5, lower taxes plus higher thin and I was like, what the hell is that? Thin and kind women per capita. Lower taxes plus kind and higher equals more orgasms per capita, which equals higher male participation rate, which equals higher GDP. Yes, that's not even facetious. Hotter, more loving chicks will promote men or prompt men to work harder. And then you throw kids in there. Now they have they have progeny investment. Yes. Look, in the olden days, they didn't have the ugly women yelling and screaming at men on football fields in high school football games. They had the pretty girls saying encouraging things. If we were to do it more modernly, what you would have is you would have a group of loud, obnoxious, ugly women throwing things and screaming and yelling at their football team. If we were to kind of, it doesn't, no, it won't, that doesn't encourage men. No. Yelling and screaming and being ugly does not encourage men. You may not like that, but it doesn't encourage them. If you're sweet and kind and sexy, oh my God, men will do things. Holy, whoa! Your average black dude, Pedro for president, 14 Canadian bucks. Cappy went for a night meal. I'm home. A girl kept looking back. Cappy, comma, I went for a night meal on my way home. On my way home, a girl kept looking back at me as if I was following her. It's either I speed pass or leave space. That feeling someone can ruin my life by a false accusation sucks. Yeah, I only because I used to work security and we'd walk girls home all the time. I think it's not irrational, but I think it's too much. I think it's a bit neurotic. They're really worried that around every corner there's some raisinist. Every man is a potential raisinist and da 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 da. Well, you put somebody in a uniform, then he's perfectly safe. He's safe. He's in a uniform. Um, so I've always, if there's like a girl by herself at night and whatever, like, she's ahead of me, I will wait and let her cut the street or I'll cut across the street. There ain't no reason to make her. I'll even do that with guys. Like if there's an older man or just, some guy and it's at night, I'm not gonna like follow him. It's a simple courtesy and convenience you could do for your fellow human being. Just all right, there's no reason for this person to worry. So I'll just walk on the other side of the street. Burbshide, to Australian. When are you gonna go on Neurotic podcast? Actually, guys, I would love to just go on the Neurotic podcast. I would love to go on It's a Gundam. I would love to go on uh, what's his name? Joker was gonna set me up with them. Jeremy at the courting. You just don't invite yourselves onto people's podcasts, bigger or small. Hey, I'm a big swinging dick. Have me on your show. And they're experts at movie and culture analysis. I have my thoughts, but I don't know if I'd be a uh, as good of a guest as some other people they could have on. I have my opinions and thoughts, but I'd be happy to go on. But I don't think they know who I am or necessarily care. We have Herschel again for 30 shekels. What matters is not how much pieces of paper with numbers on them you have in your pockets, but it's about how many goods and services, what Cappy calls stuff, there is in the economy. Yes, exactly. The pieces of paper, that's just how we transact our stuff. At the end of the day, forget the stuff, forget the pieces of paper. It's how much stuff did you produce? I'm not kidding. We could definitely have, well, maybe not 50% deflation. If you did it right, you could easily have inflation or you could have deflation of 10%. Prices could come down 10% in a year. What it require is once again, we all pull a Japanese miracle. You all work 10% more. And not on the fluffy bunny nonprofit horseshit government nonprofit education bullshit stuff. Like 10% more people go and make some burgers. 10% more people go and make cars, 10% more people go into the trades, and you'll see production go up and inflation go down if we hold the money supply stable. But it's not my dream. I want to work with these children and make a difference. You want to make a difference? Go build a fucking house. Jacob Troxel. Cool ass name. $5. Women spend 10 years college collecting tattoos and kids, then come looking for a man who wants a traditional relationship, then wonder why nobody wants them. The lack of simple information we have given women about men and reality and life in general is appalling. I know the millennials were lied to in whole, in mass, but women in particular were lied to as well. However, as you are aware, anytime you try to tell them something different, even if it is coming from the most well-intended, constructive, helpful, look, this you got to do this or else, it is usually rejected because what they were told sounds better. It's so I don't that's why I do Operation Evil, not go Operation trying to actually help out women. Because if I'd had a book that actually tried to help out women, I wouldn't make any money on it. They wouldn't buy it and I'd be yelled at. However, if you lie to them and tell them what they want to hear, you could be as rich as Oprah. You but good luck. We do have some gals. Some gals do tune in and they do it right. What Murph found a guy, I guess, following my advice. I know another gal got married following my advice. One of the older clients. And there's some gals that go into engineering instead. They're out. They're just not the majority, and they're not in enough mass to make any society-wide changes for the better. Not to mention, there's not enough money. Look, forget women for a second. Look, do you think there's any money in doctors getting their clients to work out and exercise? Do you think there's any money in that? There's not a penny because people don't want to do it. There's billions of dollars in Ozempic, where here's a pill and you can lose the weight. Frankenfoot, $5. Should you put your money in asset management group, aka i.e. Janice Henderson? Not really. I mean, it depends on what you want to achieve there, Frankenfoot. If you're just looking at IRA management for retirement, I'd go look at a robo advisor where they just throw you into index funds and they allocate it against different asset classes of index funds based on your age and when you think you're going to retire and when you're going to die. So they need to know when you're going to retire, how old you plan on being until you're dead. So you look at your parents or grandparents' age, how much money you got now, da 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 da. And the computer is simple algorithm, simple math. It'll just break it out. Okay, you need 10% in the bond index fund, 60% S&P 500, a little bit of growth, et cetera, et cetera. That's what you need. I'd look at robo advisors and do a background check on which ones supported Black Lives Matter and DEI because it's relatively new. There was one that was really good. It was really good. I loved it. And then the guy's like, "We're donating money to Black." No, done. I'm out. I'll go somewhere else. I can do it myself. So make sure your money isn't going to. It was sad. It was some young kid who was doing the politically correct woke thing, and it's like, dude, you're just supposed to manage my money. Okay, that's it. You're not supposed to be political. Dre, $2. Thanks to feminism, single men can retire under 50. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, without kids, without divorce, without getting married, a lot of men can retire under 50. A lot. Matter of fact, most. Or if you play your cards right, like you go into the trades at 16, you come out an apprentice at 18, you work, you save your money, you don't get married, you don't get divorced, you don't have kids. Yeah, you can retire before 50. And don't worry, girl. Thank you, ladies. There's always a silver lining. Like, oh, you're mourning the loss of love. I get it. You're mourning the loss of family. Right. Okay. Well, but you can be incredibly free right now. You don't have to work 60 hours a week like your father and grandfather used to. Maybe your great grandfather, for those of you who are younger, where they had to work at a factory. You could, that's enough. 20 hours for me. Bye. I'm out of here. But no, Boomer Boss. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I got $160,000 cash saved up. I have to take your shit. No, I'm not coming in the office. I don't need to. If you don't like that, fuck you, fine. I'll find another job. Reed Schwartzer, $5. Alex, you guys had 37 assassinations. Good lord, man. Nothing sus about that election. Wow. What was there a political assassin? I don't need to know. I don't care even. But that's pretty interesting. 37 for were the politicians that got assassinated or just the cartels are having a little square off with each other right now. Don't worry, she's a Democrat. Well, whatever. The Socialist Moreno is the political party. I thought it was the PRI and the not PNR, PNB. Is there a third party now? It's even more socialist than more free shit. Oh, that'll stop the cartels. I'd be perfectly honest. The cartels might be better governors than a socialist. They just might. They get shit done. Goth Rocker 7. How you doing, buddy? $10. I work for a natural gas utility. Tough times. I make over 100 grand. People put me down a lot. I only did community college, never finished it. I own my house, my Lincoln, Subaru, Chevy truck. So people put you down for not having a college degree. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. People don't know. They want to know a good, I mean, not morally good, but a good quality man or good quality person if they're standing right in front of them. I think it's still a holdover from like middle school and high school. We're like, oh, you need fancy, flashy shit. You need a fancy car. Otherwise, you're a loser. Fuck off. I would not. Dude, just run silent, run. Goth, go have your fun, man. You get a good night's sleep. You got no debt. You own a house. Just just enjoy some good food, some quiet and peace. Enjoy, man. Go for a nice walk, nice hike. Listen to some podcasts. Oh, go to your whatever your 20 or 10-year. What do you do? I got my MBA. What do you do? I would love it. I haven't gone to a high school reunion. I'd love to go back to one. What do you do? I just hike, ride my motorcycle, yell at the internet a little bit, and then I go home. Oh wait, I already am at home when I yell at it, and then I just do whatever I want. You have a sports car, bro. You don't have your ML. You're right. I guess I don't. I stepped in San Francisco shit, $5. So as a young man, and my choices are one, work hard to fight inflation, rebuild a country filled with inferior people. Two, enjoy the Clyde. Hard choice, laugh out loud. Well, I'm not saying you don't work hard to fight inflation. Look, don't. Oh wow, hang on, we got shit internet. Hang on. All right, we're back. Um, Work hard to fight inflation, rebuild the country. That's only if the country votes for it. Only if the country voted in the policies. All right, we're not going to tax you at 38%. We're going to make it so that employers cannot discriminate against you if you don't have a college degree. We're going to make it so, and we're going to balance the budget, and we're going to scale back, and we're not going to have immigration. We're not. Nope. Americans come for like, oh my God, Americans and the country people coming first before literally the rest of the world. So if that were to come into place, like, okay, we're actually going to work for this country and our own people and our own future, then, and everyone was on board or enough people to vote in policies that, okay, fine, then you could have a Japanese miracle. And then what would it be? Generation Alpha and Zoomers might have a second golden age of the United States. But if they don't do that, if do what's in your best interest. If they don't do that, we do more. Well, we're going to tax you 50% because we just haven't had enough. And now we're going to require PhDs. And there's going to be more diversity and inclusion. And we're going to have even more immigrants come. And fuck it. Why would you work? Right. Exactly. Enjoy the decline. And that's when you do minimalism. You still get a good degree. You still get a skill that naturally is hedged against inflation. Like dentists don't worry about inflation. Mechanics don't worry about inflation. They just charge more because, well, you need your car to work and you need your teeth not to fall out. So you'll pay. But you don't the difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2, if you were a mechanic. Scenario 1, you would cool, I'm gonna bust my ass off, make some overtime, work up some extra money, work on a bunch of cars, And yeah, I'll be exhausted, but at the end of the day, I'll have literally twice the amount of money. It'll be twice the amount of production, twice the amount of cars on the road, increasing supply, thereby lowering costs. And then I get a little bit of pride in what I did and helped America go. If it's still, oh, males are horrible, white people bad, oh, we need free shit for people who don't work for a living, same shit that we're doing now. Democrat Party platform, people shitting in the streets. Yeah, I think I'm only working 20 hours a week. I'm not gonna have kids. I ain't getting married. No, I'm not buying a big ass house. I'm gonna get a small little house. I'm gonna get a used car because I don't need some fancy car to impress girls no more. And I'm just gonna get by. I'm gonna go travel a little bit. I'm gonna work 6 months out of the year, and then I'm leaving. I'll come back when there ain't no snow. That's one quarter of the production, but you'll be fine because you're a minimalist. It's not the government. It's not the poor people, it's the people themselves, the working and producing people that matter. Those are the ones that are going to solve this. That's where all production comes from, is the productive class. You either start championing the productive class or not. And if you don't, if you treat your productive citizens like shit, don't be surprised when they shut down. All right. God almighty, how there's so many people up late at night? Dre, $2. Being overseas made me want to work more, but not in the US. Yeah, well, maybe there's a culture there. There's some people you might like. Maybe there's maybe not some nice things you want to buy, but just like, oh, you want to help out the community a little bit. You don't want to be a sponge. Maybe those people treat you nicely and you have respect for their community. Bart Simpson, hey, a famous person. Bart Simpson, $2. The great one is mildly amusing. I you're one of the few people who only find him mildly amusing. A lot of people just find him outright hilarious. Dre for $2. The great one is a national treasure podcast. 10 out of 10. Alex Patino, a truck driving Latino agent in the field. $5. Considering that Claudia Scheinbaum is Jewish, all 37 candidates got deleted involuntarily. Claudia Scheinbaum is Mexican. Wait, that's not your new. What, really? Claudia, here, fills right in. Pardo. Oh, God, she does look like a socialist. Claudia Scheinbaum Pardo, former head of government Mexico City. Scientist, academic, first woman president. Um, what is she known for? Secretary of Environment, Lopez Obrador. Okay. Don't worry, everything's fine. It's all good. She's a woman, and that's all. She's a woman, and she's a socialist, and that's all that matters. All 37 candidates got deleted involuntarily. I have to look into that. That is not coincidence. That is something planned. 37. The pimped out platypus, $5. Women are another bill, and utilities are already expensive enough, let alone discretionary spending. Unfortunately, if you look at the math, not making this up, go. There's two studies, New Zealand, United States. Women in general spend more money, cost more money than men. Well, in part also because women live longer. So that's one reason. And when they live longer, they're not working those extra 4 to 5 years. They're old and frail. So that's one reason. But yes, usually women are more expensive than men. Uh, at different ages, though, I think when you boys get out of college, you're all idiots and you go buy fancy new cars. You don't need to impress the girls. So for a while, you're pissing away your money more than women. But over lifetime, women end up pissing away more money than men. The historically men would pay for women on dates and all that. That's changing. That's going away. That is going out. That is not happening anymore. Pooping while standing, $2. What's your equity to bond ratio? 60-40, 70-30? No, I have no bonds. No bonds. I'm all equity. In part because I got to saving for retirement late. I didn't have a lot of money early on. My 20s were pretty much a wash. Most of my the investment I did go, I paid off my mortgage early. I should have held on to the mortgage and invested more into marketable securities. But I'm pretty much 100% equity. And then real estate, and then I don't have that long of a life expectancy. I'm also a minimalist. I do plan on working till I'm dead, not because I want to or I have to, but because I want to. I mean, what are you going to do? Really, what are you going to do? And I also have the Smith and Wesson retirement plan, so that's not a. I don't. I don't plan on having huge medical expenses. Jorge, yes, $5. Come on, Cappy. Inflation is not real. We could just import 6'9" Chad Thunderstrokes from everywhere now. Yeah, inflation's not real. It's the greatest economy ever, right? Kids Biden economics. I wish I was paying attention to the economy. I don't do it anymore. I got funner things to do, but what do you think about I don't know. I don't pay attention. I just know he wants more free shit. Nonstop trade $2. The local people and culture, great. Also thin women. I like me the thin women. Absolutely. Your average black dude, 14 Canadian bucks again, achieving journeyman status as a plumber living at mom's hoarder and welfare queen. I'm a minimalist, no wife, kids, saving up to be a mechanical engineer because I don't want to be a grunt doing blue collar work forever. Well, once you achieve journeyman status, man, get away from your hoarder and welfare queen mom. That is not going to be good for you long term. I mean, all you saving rent, but man, if she's a hoarder and she's mentally ill. She's a bad influence too if she's on welfare. Not that you're unaware of that, but yeah, once you become a tradesman, hell, if you're in Canada, I bet you go work up in Edmonton or someplace where they'd be happy to have you. Working conditions be horrible. You make some good money. The pimped out platypus, $5. More boomer, great one, please. Love to be told how skipping avocado and toast and pulling myself up by my bootstraps will solve life's problems. It kind of will, in a certain extent. You can't be having no $8 avocado and toast. And yeah, I understand boomers like, you gotta pull yourself up by the bootstraps, not knowing how hard that is. But at the same time, they're not wrong. They're accidentally right because yeah, ain't nobody else gonna pull your bootstraps up. No one's saving you. No one. No one is coming to save you. Only you will save you. And it's not, I'm not saying you gotta go and become a millionaire, but you should, like our black what was it? Your average black dude, he's becoming a journeyman. He's he's pulling up his own bootstraps. Dre, $2. Did I forget to mention the thin and kind women? Yeah, no, you didn't. You did forget to mention it there, Dre. What are they thin and kind? Look at this, all these foreigners, 464 people tuning in. Well, there you go. So anyway, originally for you girls, yeah, inflation is costing you your good men. Start thinking about your behaviors and actions and your voting about whether that brings about an inflationary environment. Also, really seriously consider people like, oh, Cappy, you telling girls to the yeah, I know. Just let me do it. I'd also have you seriously evaluate whether what you currently think is a good man now is actually a good man. And if you're wrong, are there not good men already in front of you at this moment in time? But long term, if you would like more good men, you got to get back to the point where we don't have ridiculous education requirements or inflation that keeps men in the lower levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, not including yourselves, ladies, until they're 30. Or would you like them out at 18? It's up to you. We got more. All right. Sean Cantwell, knives, 10 generous dollars. Will it be fun to see what's the economic statuses of men versus the economic statuses of women in the future? Oh, yeah. Well, anything in the future would be very interesting. But yes, it will be very interesting. I think women will make more money, but they will make more, but they will have lower net worth. They will have less wealth because they are getting the majority of college degrees. They're going to be going into the majority of white collar work. They will be going into the majority of the cities. Um, their their salaries will be higher because of geographic inflation, but also because they're in white collar work, higher paying jobs in general, nominally speaking. But the policies they vote for, including inflation, but especially at the municipal level, where rent is, San Francisco, New York, they will have no money left over. Great, you're making 170,000 in New York as a marketing executive, but you will have no money at the end of the year. Whereas, plumber Joe is a journeyman or justified. He's gonna become a mild-mannered accountant living down in Mexico. They may not be living where all the action is, but they'll have a truck that's paid off. They'll have a small, modest home with significant amount of equity. They will have retirement funds, and they just won't have the expenses. And so that I think would be their economic status, but fuck economic status. All that really matters is happy. I think men will be more content and peaceful, whereas women will be more stressed out, working corporate. You know, but by all means, ladies, you lead. I absolutely yes. Women should lead corporations. Women should be promoted to positions of power. You girls should lead for decades. For a long time, you should lead now. And you go do it. And we'll just do these boring mechanic jobs. Fix your truck. Yeah, there you go. The pimped out platypus, $5. I'm doing well. I just think boomers are hilarious. They kind of are. They kind of are. And David Frost, $2. Winning the Air Force, the 20 best decision of my life. Yep, there you go. It There's so many benefits financially that come with it, joining the military. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. Link below, A World Without Men, an analysis of an all-female economy. You girls are interested in how to make, close the wage gap. There'd be some interesting data and statistics that'll show you how to close that wage gap. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.